Well, hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to my little gardening show. It's Easter Sunday. We celebrated this morning. He is risen. That's what you're supposed to say. He's risen indeed, bud. Anywho, we are setting up our second Bountiful Harvest Grow Box. This one we're going to set up Mittleider style. So, I've got the other box. Actually, let's show them the other box real quick. So we moved the other box outside. It is on wheels now. I put the wheels on, so that makes it real handy to roll it in and out. And I think the plan might be we'll just stage them down here so that way if the weather does get bad, we can roll them in fairly easily. And maybe be growing lettuce out here in the driveway. But it's looking pretty good.
We got two of these, and once all of that comes up, that'll be enough for like 2 salads.
Yeah, there's a lot there. So anyway, excited about that. You know, but we set that one up with the Pro Mix, Grow Mix, and stuff. What you need, honey? You eating your chocolate bunny?
Trying to watch something?
No, why don't you hang out and why don't you change your clothes first if you're going to come outside?
No, I'm not.
So anyway, we got a similar mix. Got our Grow Mix, some flag and moss. I did throw some worm castings in there and some azomite powder. So a few little extra things that Mittleider would not have. But we are going to add the garden lime and the borax, the pre-plant mix basically, to this mix once we fill this up. Before we fill this up, bud, let's put the wheels on this. We need to put the wheels on the cart first, bud.
Okay.
Alright, so we've got our box flipped over. We got the set of wheels that came with it. Let's get this going. This box is pretty well made. I'll be interested to see how it holds up in the elements and stuff like that. Haven't really used these outdoors. These wheels are a little tough to get on. Where's my hammer in it, bud?
Oh, I can get a hammer.
Yeah, get a hammer for me.
Here it is.
That's 2 on. We'll go ahead and get the other 2 on real quick. Alright, we got our 4 wheels on. We'll flip it back over. The next step is to locate where the water drain is going to be, which so it goes in like that, and then our flange pipe will go in there. So the next step is to fill the 4 corners with kind of a saturated clump of Pro Mix. Alright, pack that in there real good. And you do that 3 more times. And these other corners, we're leaving this one free though, because that's where the water pipe's going. Not that one, this one, yep. Good. Now let's do the 3rd corner. Now the purpose for that is that once we fill the reservoir with water, it's going to soak into those clumps that are already saturated, and through capillary action it's going to keep the box watered. So that's what we're doing. Alright, so you can see that hole right there. We're going to line this up. That's where we're going to be watering the tray. So now all Bud's got to do is fill this box up to the line here. That's about 5-6 inches up. So we'll fill this with some mix. All right, so we got our grow box set up. Basically got the wheels on it, got the little grate that's on there for the water reservoir. We've got the wet clumps in the 3 corners. We put our little flange pipe in for watering, and we filled it up with the grow mix, which is basically some Pro Mix, some phlegm moss. I threw some worm castings in there and a little bit of azomite dust just for fun, right? But we're going to treat this as a Mittleider box from here on out, so I'm going to go ahead and prep the soil mix like I would Mittleider garden, and then we're going to use the weekly feed. We're actually going to administer it as a constant feed, which is the liquid form of it. So for that, I need to show you the recipe in my little conversion chart. Alright, hopefully you can see that pretty good. The reason why I made this little chart is because I don't need to make the pre-plant mix, a weekly feed, or the constant feed in like a huge quantity, you know. Maybe in those quantities I would do if it was out at the large garden, that's the 50 by 100, but for like home use with a few grow boxes, really I wanted to be able to make this about a pound at a time. So I did all the conversions on that. As far as the ingredients, I took some of this from the big garden. I've got a big sack of this, like a 50-pound bag of dolomite lime, I think it is. That ran about 15 bucks and got it at like an ag store. Tractor Supply, Rural King, or maybe your local kind of cooperative would sell this stuff. But it's basically garden lime. It's a huge source of calcium that the plants need to ensure that cell structure and that they can grow right. So that's what the garden lime looks like. Again, about 15 bucks if I remember right for a 50-pound bag of it. That'll last you a really long time. The next ingredient is the Epsom salt, and I picked this up at CVS. It was about $6 for a 4-pound bag of it. Again, that's going to last a while. And you know, it looks like salt. Next ingredient on the list for the pre-plant mixer is boron. So where do you get boron? Well, you can get it from buying some laundry detergent booster. This is 20 mule team Borax. It's basically boron. So I think this was about $5 or $6 for a big box, you know, 4-pound box. You can get that at like Kroger or Walmart. Next, NPK. That's the triple 15, triple 12, triple 16. It's triple something. Anywhere from triple 12 to triple 16 is what you're looking for. My buddy Tom picked up some triple 12 from Menards for about 11 bucks. And it's a 20-pound sack, so that's going to last me a while. And in the mineral packet, the Mittleider Minerals. Let's see if we got some of those down here. You can get these from a variety of places. I got this from growfood.org or growfood.com. But these are all the trace minerals. They come in 10-ounce packets. They also come in a packet that looks like this. It looks like cocaine, basically. Anyway, and I wouldn't try snorting that stuff or anything like that. But you would mix this in, one of these mineral packets in with a 25-pound bag of the NPK and the Epsom salt for your weekly feed. But that's what this stuff looks like. So again, we got our 3 base recipes: the pre-plant mix, the weekly feed, and the constant feed. When you first start a Mittleider bed, you're going to prepare it using the pre-plant mix and the weekly feed for the first, before you get anything planted. After you do that, you're going to follow up by either doing a weekly feed, once a week, applying basically an ounce of it per linear foot of bed that you've planted. And 1 ounce is basically 2 tablespoons. So 2 tablespoons of that, and then you'll do that once a week, and you'll water it into the grow mix, right? So to start this bed off, well, and in the constant feed, that's the liquid version of that. So if you had a small garden or whatever, and you just wanted to mix up a small batch to water, like say a gallon, which is what I'm going to do for these grow boxes. You know, I've got over here the conversion for the constant feed. I'm basically going to take 2 teaspoons of the weekly feed. You know, because right here it's 1 ounce per 3 gallons. Well, I only want to make a gallon, so it's going to be 2 teaspoons per gallon of that. So 2 teaspoons of the weekly feed in my little gallon jug. I'm going to mix it with water, and then that's my constant feed that I'll water with these boxes if I go that route, if I decide to make it a liquid application. You would also use this constant feed if you were starting seedlings. And what you would try to do is not get it on the foliage, just to be on the safe side so you don't risk burning anything. I think it's diluted enough that wouldn't happen, but I probably wouldn't take any chances anyway. So anyway, I'll post this in the description, or maybe you can just take a snapshot of this. It's been up long enough in the video that you could grab the conversions. So our goal is we're going to make a pound, or I've made a pound of each of these, the pre-plant mix and the weekly feed, and then I'll be using the weekly feed to make my constant feed. So let me show you what that looks like, the finished product. So this is the pre-plant mix, and basically I've got 2 cups of lime, 5 teaspoons of Epsom salt, and a heaping teaspoon of that 20 mule team borax stuff to get my boron. Shook this up all around, with the lid on. I'm good to go. There's my pre-plant mix. Again, it's going to be, I believe, 2 tablespoons of the, or 4 tablespoons of this for my grow box, because I got about 2 linear feet. I mean, it's close enough. So about 4 tablespoons of this is going to be applied to my grow box to start. The weekly feed mix. So I got my triple 15. Let's see. So again, 2 cups of, actually it's triple 12 NPK, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. I got a 1/3 cup of Epsom salt and a tablespoon of that Mittleider mineral packet. Mix it all real good. And I also put 3 teaspoons, heaping teaspoons of dolomite lime, because I wanted to coat the mix. And the reason why is because the Epsom salt tends to draw water into the mix and makes it soupy. And so by coating everything, that should prevent that, and then being in an airtight container with the lid on, I'm hoping I'll be good on this. So if it gets a little soupy, I'll just add a little bit more lime to it, to try to balance it out. It's not going to hurt anything really. So I'll need 4 tablespoons of this as well to start my box initially. And then after that, I'll either apply, what is it? After that, I'll apply either 1 ounce of this basically 2 tablespoons of this to the box once a week and water it in, or I'll go ahead and make the constant feed mix, which is kind of the liquid version of that, by taking my gallon milk jug and adding 2 teaspoons of this with a gallon of water and mixing it up real good, and that's my constant feed, and then I can water that way. Either way, I'm good to go. My plants are getting fed. And then you just adjust. If things are looking deficient, there's probably deficiency. The Mittleider guide has telltale signs, like a guide to help you determine like maybe what's going on, and you can just adjust accordingly. If you need to add a little bit more, like you need to feed them more than once a week because maybe you're growing like tomatoes or something, like a real heavy feeder that's drawing a lot of nutrients out for whatever reason, you can do that. It's pretty easy. So pretty easy to make. The mix up, this will last me probably the whole season, I would think. I'm going to try to set a couple of these, get a few more of these boxes and basically do greens at the house, so it's just really easy, convenient to pick a salad, and should work out pretty well. Alright, since I don't have a tablespoon down here, I've got my little Tivana teaspoon that I nabbed from upstairs. I'm going to need to do 6 of these for 1 ounce. I'm going to need to do 12 for 2 ounces, which is probably going to take about 2 ounces for this box. I'm just going to broadcast this in. I'm gonna cut back on this. Let's just do 8. I can always add more if I need to. So there's 8 teaspoons, and again, it's not a perfectly exact science, but that's my pre-plant mix to start the box. Now we're going to do 8 teaspoons of the weekly feed. And again, this is just to start the box, and this box is a good 6 to 7 inches deep, so I'm going to be mixing this all in. With my tool, if I can find it. I need to clean this grow room up. The kids have been down here some. Again, you can always add more nutrients if you need to. I'd probably be a little conservative to start, because you can overfeed plants too, and that's just as bad as not feeding them enough. You can actually burn the plants, or it can get kind of toxic, and then you get a different problem that you can't easily, remedy. All right, so that grow box is ready to start seeds in. Now the last box we did butter crunch. This one we're going to do some romaine lettuce. This is Paris Island, and it's a really good variety. So we're going to start some of that in this box. All right, I went ahead and drew my little lines. I've got the seeds in this lid so I can kind of pick them up. And I'm just going to sprinkle them into this little trench row here. Now I could try to do individual heads, but what we want to do is just treat this like loose leaf, where we're going to cut and come again, so to speak, and just keep, harvesting from the heads, not pull an individual head out. If I wanted big heads, like to grow individually, I would start these individually, maybe with my grid, and go that route, and then space them accordingly. But I think I'll get more production doing it this way, actually. Okay, and there it is. My box is planted out. So now what we'll do is cover the seeds by just pinching that soil, closing the little furrow. And I've got these rows spaced about 4 inches apart, because I figure the heads are they're gonna branch out. They're gonna fill this box. So I've got 5 rows. Yeah, 5 rows planted. And I left a little space in the end. I don't have it planted right up to the edge of the box, because that's probably not going to do as well. Hey, what's going on?
It's dinner time.
Oh, dinner time. Awesome. Then we're going to pat that down. The last step would be to water this in. So now that we've got the seeds planted, the last step is to water them in. So for this step, I'm going to put this little handkerchief over the rows, and this is going to protect the seeds that I just planted. I want to be able to water this pretty quickly, but what I don't want to do is turn the seeds or wash out the rows that I just covered. So we got our bucket of water here. We're just going to take it and water this in real good. And again, that water is just going to soak right through the handkerchief. What I could probably do, honestly, is just, well, I probably don't want to do that just because of the force of all that water. So we'll just keep running this cup over a few times. Now you can use like a burlap cloth or a shelf liner or something that's porous. It's going to let the water go through pretty well. And then what I'll do is I'll come back and put water in the pipe to fill the reservoir so that we start that bottom water process. Maybe we'll do one more pass on each side. And again, this is going to allow you to put a lot of water down in a short amount of time without washing things out. Now, it's not going to hurt anything to just leave that cloth on there for a day or two. You know, I can take it off between applications, but it's going to take a couple days for these seeds to sprout. So a day or two would be fine. Once the seeds sprout, you know, I'll be pretty much bottom watering initially, but then once they come out and they're putting out their true leaves, that's when we'll start doing the constant feed, which again, looking at our recipe, is going to be a gallon of water. And 2 teaspoons mixed in of our weekly feed. That will make the constant feed mix. And once a week we will apply that. And then the rest of the time it'll just be bottom water. But once a week I will top water. And I'll try to do between the rows, like not right on the plants. If I do get any on there, I'll be careful to kind of wash it off, because just in case we don't want to burn the plants or anything like that. But it should work out pretty well. So I'm going to leave the box, you know, it's going to stay indoors until the seeds have sprouted and are coming along pretty well. And then I'll put it outside. We've got the other box outside now. You know, it will pretty well stay outside unless the weather's real bad, and then we can wheel it right in. That's what's kind of nice about this being on wheels, is we can wheel this thing around. I may just end up doing the stuff in the driveway. I may end up putting them out on the back deck, in the back of the house. We'll see how things go, but I'd like to get a few more of these boxes and get them set up and just see what we can grow here at the house, you know, as well as the garden. So I guess that's it for now. Till next time, happy gardening. Bye.